hope you're having a wonderful day. My name is Alpha, and today I'm going to be walking you guys through the two main painting types I like to use for watercolors. One is more wet on wet, and one is wet on dry. And once you kind of know these two main ones, you can kind of let your imagination run wild with each one, kind of understanding where to take that. So I'm just gonna dip our toes into just the basics of these. So let's get started. Okay, the first one I want to show you guys is wet on wet. So I'm just gonna write WOW as a little acronym, if you will. And so wet on wet is exactly like what it sounds. You take a little bit of water, and let's say I wanted to draw just a square. And so what I would do is I would just layer a really thin paint of water on here, which you barely can see on the camera, and then pick up some paint and just drop it in. And the thing is it's not gonna go anywhere else besides where the water is. I have a lot of paint on this brush right now, but you get the idea. And you can just keep adding more water and just kind of letting it do its thing. And the whole point is it's a very fluid movement in between the water and the paint. It's all about wet on wet. I'll show you guys one more time. I had a lot of paint on my brush and realized I picked up so much. So again, we're gonna create maybe a circle this time, so you get an idea as well. So here's kind of a circle. And I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of this pretty red. I'm just gonna drop it in. And it's basically gonna just fill in that circle, and it's not gonna go anywhere else. And that blur that gets created with wet on wet is probably my favorite. Now, this wet on wet is not really good for layering because it's wet. So if you do wanna layer on this, you're gonna have to let it dry, which brings me to my next technique. So when painting and you want to build layers, you're going to end up, especially with watercolors, right? So you're going to want to use something called wet on dry. Another little acronym. So now this is exactly what it sounds like. I have a dry canvas here, or tiny little piece of paper. It's canvas. These are scraps I have. And so basically I'm just going to pick up paint. I'm going to pick up this green, and I'm going to just draw. And let's say I have this pretty leaf, right, that I've drawn here, and I want to give it more detail, or I want to add in veins, or however I want to add more detail to this leaf. I'm going to have to wait till it dries, and then I can go back in and use a darker green or however I want and be able to really get that line in there. So again, if I want to, say I wanted to draw a square or something. I don't know why I draw a square, but you get the idea. It's very controlled. This wet on wet is not controlled. Wet on dry, I can control exactly where I want the paint to go. And so it's perfect for layering. So now if I let these two dry, which I'm gonna do in just a second, and then I pick up other paint, I can go back in and add details. Okay, I gave it some time to dry. And so what I want to do is, now that it's dry, I can actually go in and choose a darker green and be able to draw in that. I mean, this is obviously a terribly drawn flower. Excuse that. I just wanted to kind of show where I was going with this, right? Now I can layer into this color, and that adds more dimension. And there you go, like so. So it needs to be wet on dry in order to layer. Wet on wet, if you kind of want to create that really pretty blurred effect that you see here. Look at that, like that. This is just beautiful because, again, we had no control. We laid down the water and then we dropped in the paint, and it created this beautiful edge. Whereas this was very painted, and it has its own beauty. So this is all about layering and how you can add different things. Excuse the horrible painting, but I just kind of wanted to get those two painting techniques across. I hope that makes sense to you guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe so that way you don't miss any videos, and I will see you guys here soon again. Bye.